Hello and welcome to the 21-day uh, mindfulness retreat, which is virtual. And today is fourth day, and I would say, fortunately, I have a guest. Her name is Kirti Satya. She's joining in from Hyderabad, and she's also a lot into mindfulness. She's doing various, I would say, self-help and self-help things, as well as she's a poet. Basically, she comes from the writing background. And then I want to listen to her. We had decided to have a very mindful conversation with our teas, and I have my tea here, a virtual tea as well as the real tea. And so I wanted to have a conversation, Kirti, and also listen. So welcome to the 21-day mindfulness retreat that I'm actually doing. And I'm so glad to have you as my guest today.
Thank you, Jahnavi, for having me on this mindful retreat. I'm thoroughly excited having this conversation with you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so nice to see you. And we had planned, in fact, to meet virtually for a long time, and somehow this
Yeah.
has happened. And things do happen in their own time, right? So, what do you have to
Yes.
say about this? Though we plan, and just like the coronavirus situation, none of us planned for it. None of us had any kind of a notion that this is going to happen. But then it happened, and we are all somehow or the other, we are managing with it. We are dealing with it. So how are you dealing with it? Can you give us some ways that you're dealing with?
Um, I always believe, there's this thing which someone would always tell me, man proposes,
Yes,
God disposes. And
yes.
I know many of us had made many plans, and I
Hmm.
had also made some plans, and
Okay.
then this happened. And
Hmm.
I think one of the most important things that I have learned in my life is that you have to go with the flow, and you
Hmm.
have to really not resist what comes in your way. This is
Right.
it's not your making. I mean, you've not done
Hmm.
it, so why
Yes,
fret about it in the first place? So
absolutely.
we have to, I think it's a great opportunity to reinvent yourself, great opportunity to go
Hmm.
within, look deeper, find those things that the niggles and whatever used to bother you so much, and kind
Yes,
of be at peace with it. um,
yes.
for me, I'm one of those people. I don't know, it's maybe not the nicest thing to say, but I'm saying it. I'm not bored, I'm actually quite enjoying it, and I'm
Oh,
pretty occupied. So
yeah.
yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's a once in a century kind of an event, and we are a part of it. And
Hmm.
it is a event which is forcing people to evolve. People
Yes,
have to change the way they were. They have to change their way of living and thinking.
right.
And this event is bringing in that. And we have to go with the flow. I think the larger lesson that is coming through is
Hmm.
uh, the earth, if it decides to have one hiccup, will be raised to the ground. It is teaching
Hmm.
us humility, which we had forgotten. And I would
You're
hear
right.
people say, let's save earth, we are saving earth. What bullshit. I
Ah,
Please don't, I'm sorry, this is like a
yeah. No, no, no,
public
that's
conversation.
okay. Yeah. Hmm.
Saving earth, what arrogance is that? The earth
Hmm.
can destroy us like this. And it's
Yeah.
just teaching us a lesson. Don't mess with me. I've had enough of your nonsense. So plenty of
Hmm.
things. And mostly I focus on whatever I'm doing. And
Hmm.
I don't think of the future or the past or any of those things. I just focus on my task, and
Yes.
that's what keeps me going. And I have my routine that keeps me focused on what I want to do.
Yeah. So beautifully you explained the whole thing, and I really, really, appreciate that. And even in fact, I would say my isolation is continuing. In fact, it was also there before, and so it has not made much difference in my life either.
Oh,
Really, Kirti,
awesome,
because of my
awesome.
travel to US every year to my daughter's houses, we had actually removed. I mean, in fact, we didn't have a maid at all, and we had bought one dishwasher.
Awesome, awesome.
And it's also vessels, as well as I take care of my dusting and swabbing. So even my husband, he does half the work.
Yeah.
So it's been such a cool thing, like we have, and we don't have the television, by the way, and because every time we used to go, we come back and then we take the connection. So we thought, forget it. Anyway, we are mostly on the internet and we keep getting the news, and it's such a big riddance of all those distractions, right? And so, in fact, yeah. So it's been a really kind of, I would say, a peaceful this because of the noise reduction and the carbon reduction. So it was really nice listening to you that, and I keep seeing your great posts on Facebook where we are connected. And the other day I saw your beautiful cookery thing, with lots of dishes that you make and you're sharing. That's such a beautiful thing, and I really appreciate that as well. So this reminds me of one of your poems. You have written a lot of poems. I remember very well. And all the photographs that you take about the places that you visit, and they are all mindful places in the sense that they are Buddhist, probably the Tibetan, where the monks live. And so I would like to listen to one of your poetry, and especially The Lost Child that I stumbled onto the other day. And I read it. It's very touching. And I wanted to listen from your own, mouth. That is you speaking out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this poem, actually, this is inspired by the Chandratal Lake. In Himachal Pradesh, there is a lake called the Chandratal in the Lahore and Spiti district. It was my first time at a high altitude lake. It was a surreal. I don't, words fail me whenever I want to talk about that experience. It came out as a poem. That entire experience came out to me as a poem. I remember I was badly dehydrated and I forgot to carry water. And then I started walking. I realized I couldn't walk because of the altitude and because I was dehydrated. So I had to dip my head in the lake and drink the water. And it was the sweetest tasting water ever. And that's where the poem is coming.
And it must have been very pretty cold as well, right? Those places are chill. And
it was
Ah.
really very cold, and that was my first time at above 10,000 feet after several years. I have gone to these places as a child with my parents. My father was in the railway, so we traveled a lot, and but that was almost a forgotten experience. And as a kid, nothing registers for you. You just kind of enjoy yourself.
Yes.
So it is very cold over there, and it is also very isolated. And Chandratal is frozen 6 months in a year during the winters. Right from October it starts to freeze, and then the lake, I think, unfreezes only in maybe May or something like that, May or June or something like that. So it's just there for about 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nice. And which place you said this was in? Which state?
This is Himachal Pradesh.
Himachal Pradesh.
Lahore and Spiti district.
Okay, great. Because I have seen a lot of your places which you have shared, beautiful pics as well as beautiful places. So can we have your poetry now?
Sure.
Yeah.
So this poem is called Lost Child. Daughter of the moon, amongst maiden, white and grey, lady of glaciers, remote and azure, guarded by kings, grim and brown, with jagged spears and white crowns. Wild river, where you go, perhaps to meet your pining lover, enfolded in the mountain grooves, and perhaps to bless those residing deep in your gratitude. Daughter of the moon, aloof, cold and jade, to your lofty lair I came, like a child lost in wonder and play. Saw my reflection in your pool, clear and whimsical, only to surrender to your stillness, magical. Felt your love course through me, and I became your waters. O mother, river, joy! My pain was gone, I was love, and then I returned to the lands far away, as an expression of your love always.
Beautiful. It's such
Thank
a
you.
touching poem. And why did you name it Lost Child? Can I ask you that?
I felt that way. I felt that way.
Uh,
You know, someone
mm,
who's um, this was my first trip to Spiti. I have gone to Bhutan before and then to Kumaon and all that. But this
mm,
trip was like a watershed moment for me. And it was the perfect storm, as you can say. You know, it
mm,
was,
mm,
I felt such joy and such mindfulness in that, 10-day long trip. And not even once did one thought come to my head. I was so present to the, present moment. And coming to
yes.
Chandratan was like a small child, who's
Mm,
suddenly come to Wonderland and looking here and there. You know, you're playing and then you land in
yes.
Wonderland. You're playing here and
Yeah.
there, and then you find this amazing place. It's so beautiful, and
Yes.
uh, then you go and you go to the lake. You see it, and you see it surrounded by snow-capped mountains. The mountains are brown. It has got these. They are also jagged in the sense they have these sharp pointed edges and slopes and everything.
Tips. Yes.
And on that you have the snow, and it is a
Mm,
land of glaciers. You have glaciers. There are 2 or 3 glaciers in that particular area, and
mm,
uh, I remember seeing myself in the reflection of the of the lake, and someone telling me, be careful, don't try to go to the water. I said, you think I'm crazy? The water is ice
uh,
cold. Who's going to go into ice cold water?
uh,
And then I got dehydrated and I had to drink water, and I just put my head and I drank like a cow or a dog or
uh,
whatever, and it was the most amazing experience. And
yes.
I feel the people of Lahore and Spiti, they call
Uh,
Chandratal Mata. For them it's a
okay.
holy lake, it's a goddess, and I feel
Mm,
the goddess of the lake blessed me, and the water, it's still coursing through my blood, and all the
uh,
creativity and the poetry that I'm writing is the blessing of the Chandratal Mata. I really believe it.
I got some goosebumps, I should say. The reason is, one is, you, as you said, the lost child is, you were the child who were lost in that whole scenic
Yeah,
beauty. And
yeah,
then the mother, the lake, the Mata
yeah.
that you said, Chakratal Mata, she's the mother. And in her lap, you are actually like that child who is lost in the
Yes.
beauty, having no thought about the past, future, nothing.
Yeah,
You're totally present there. You're
yeah.
enjoying. There is no space for anything else except your
Yes.
own self. And you saw your reflection, as you said there.
Yeah.
And the thirst to know, probably the thirst for knowledge or thirst for having that movement to yourself, probably, gave you that. You took the risk, and it didn't feel like a risk. It just went there and drank
Yeah. Yeah.
those nectar
Waters. Yeah,
like
I know.
waters. I should say
It
some nectar
was.
like water. It was
Yes,
not
it was
water, in
nectar like
fact, I
water.
would say. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's so fresh, right? I mean, these places, the water is like tasting like nectar, pure and
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
having
Yes.
that essence of nature in them. So it,
Someone.
uh, yeah.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No,
I'm
no,
very, the kind of
no,
person who talks a
no.
lot. So,
Of
so
course, you have to. You have to. The show is for you today.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, someone said, how could you drink the water? I mean, people were afraid, I've done something wrong. I said, no, no, the only thing that you don't have to do is have a bath in the lake. Apart from that, you can drink the water. It's considered to
Mm,
be holy and, pure and everything. And there's a line which I put in my poem, which says,
huh,
that my pain went away and then,
huh,
I became love. Um,
huh.
Probably, I thought about it because when you said yesterday you wanted to speak about this poem,
Mm,
I really felt that, my trip to
mm,
Spiti and my trip to Chandratal. And
mm,
I really felt the pain, whatever, the unconscious pain, it was all
mm,
gone. And
mm,
it was all replaced with joy and love in my heart.
mm. And it's still there. You're still holding
Yeah,
those, not just as a memory, it's fresh experience, which whenever you
yeah,
recollect,
yeah,
like in this moment, you are
yeah.
reliving that whole thing, right?
Yes, yes, it is.
Uh,
Yes, it is. But
yes.
I try not to. I mean, it's my own principle not to go back to the past or dwell too much on the
Ah,
past, and
okay.
basically to be in the present moment as much as possible. But
Mm,
we are human beings, and we have this, demon called the mind, It comes
Yes.
back with all kinds of crap, and it tries to just screw you up, but you have to keep
Right.
reminding. We have
Yes.
to keep fighting it out.
Yes, it's like brushing the teeth every day. I mean, we can't just
Yes.
say that I brushed yesterday. I
Yeah.
need to brush
Yeah.
my teeth. That
Yeah.
similarly, I think we need to brush our minds with
Yeah.
some other fresh thoughts and water
Yes.
them with these poetry like this.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Can I say something here?
Of course,
What
yes.
happened? Yeah. What I wanted to say was the reason why I travel to these places is because it brings
Mm,
that freshness into my
mm-hmm.
life. Otherwise, we do life. We do things in a certain way, and we keep doing it in a
Yeah.
certain way. We meet the same people, and we have the same conversations. Going to
Mm,
new places and places where nature is dominant, it is all about
mm,
nature. You really forget the crap that you carry in your head, and
yes.
there is the space actually opens in your mind to accept something new. For
Yes.
me, that is a very important thing, not to
Yeah.
keep doing the same thing again, and to
Yes, yes.
have some
I
freshness
agree
every
with
time.
that. Yes. And yes, we have all gone. I mean, it is very natural for us to get into the same grooves and think about the same thoughts and
Yeah.
talk to the same people and have the same old conversations. And sometimes we resist, we don't want to. And
Yeah.
change
Yeah.
is so difficult. Remember, I mean, we did the course together, the Louis Hay, where,
Yes. Oh, it was
yeah,
such an amazing course. I'm
yes,
so blessed. I did that
yes,
course. I met you people, and
yes,
it was. I really think I'm very lucky to have had the chance to do these kind of courses and have had the
yes,
chance to evolve.
yes. So we sang that song, doors opening, doors closing. So when the new doors open, we need to close. In fact, if we close the doors which are old, we get into the new doors. We can open
Yeah.
new doors, new
Yeah.
possibilities.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
right now, Kirti, how does it look like you will go back to your old? I mean, not the old now, the new, of course. New, more adventure, more mountain, trekking, and then all your adventures with nature. What do you see in the future now? Or you
I
want
don't
to
see.
just be here? You want to be in the present?
Um. No.
Hmm,
No.
hmm,
In the future, I see people. Okay, on a general sense, I think the world is going to change. You said
hmm.
the best ever analogy: doors opening and doors closing. That's exactly what's happening right now. Some doors are
Yes,
opening and some
yes.
doors are closing. What will I do in future? I don't think in this 1 year people can
Hmm,
go travel anywhere. I certainly don't think it's a great idea. I'm right
yes.
now working on something, and you will hear about
Hmm,
it
hmm.
sometime, perhaps in another
Right.
month's time. Yeah. So that is what I'm looking forward to right now. I'm
Ye-
looking forward to starting my yoga again, because I don't see the lockdown ending in my town for some time now. It is extended till
hmm,
May 29th. I'm
hmm.
just, some more looking within, finding, getting rid of the old crap, and finding new things. That
Wow.
is what is my motto at this point in time. I'm not looking too much forward, because
Yes.
really, where are you going to go from here? You have to just wait
Yes.
and see where it goes, because a
Yes.
lot of people, their plans have been completely uh, washed away, if I can use those words.
Yes.
And for everyone, it is right now the waiting, the being game. You have
Yes.
to
The
be and
being.
not do.
Yes, yes. And as you
Yeah.
said, rightly, and that analogy was very good. Doors will close, but then doors will also open. The new things will come, and this is the way forward. Just be in that space, and as you said, do yoga, do whatever you love to do. Maybe I'm expecting some new book coming from your side, and so there's also so much things happening in my life as well. I'm doing some mindfulness practices. I'm also planning a book. So again, till we meet next time and we discuss your books,
Yeah.
and I'm looking forward to talking to you more and more, because we have such a beautiful person like you, with that beautiful persona, and then you can spread the poetry, you can spread new thoughts, new waves and new vibrations of this is the way forward, I would say. It's not about meeting people physically, but it's also about meeting people virtually, but at the same time, we can have new realms of new thoughts, which will change our world. I know there are a few challenges, but then if we start extending ourselves and little bit stretching ourselves, I'm sure new things will open up for us, new possibilities will open up for us, and new doors will open up for us.
Yeah.
So any
No,
lasting thoughts, for any closing thoughts from your side?
what I would like to say is hang in there. You know,
Yes.
beautiful
Mm.
things are on their way, and the life
Yes.
is very, very beautiful.
Yes.
These things happen to make us realize, to
Mm.
make us value what we have in our lives, to have gratitude for our
Absolutely.
lives. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also um, to be better human beings, to
Mm.
reach out to other human beings and help them
Mm.
out, because people were getting very selfish, are whatever, getting very
Yes.
selfish, thinking only about themselves. It
Mm.
is a time to reach out to people, connect, be compassionate, and enjoy this moment. It's going to be gone, and you'll always have something to tell your grandkids. I remember people who lived through the war. They would say, we stood in the queue for some 4 hours and we never got grains. We only got millets, and we would powder it and make some rotis or something out of it and eat. We never got
Yeah.
food was so scarce. So those were really hard times, World War II.
Yes.
And now this is the second, biggest crisis that we've had after the World War.
Mm. Mm.
And, look at it as you're living through some great times. You're living, sorry, not
Mm.
great, some historic times. So you'll
Yes.
remember that at the end of the day. And
Right.
yeah, so
And I think life has to have challenges, right? I mean, when there are
yes,
challenges, we also create opportunity, or else we just get into the comfort zone. And as
yeah,
you said, we would lose our gratitude, a sense of gratitude.
yeah,
And we had definitely become selfish,
yes,
exploiting and
yes,
using all the earth, Mother Earth, in any which way we want,
yeah,
cutting
yeah,
trees and then unnecessarily having many cars, and then one person going in a car, a big car, and number of cars. Now see, hardly people have started thinking, why should we use a car at all? Why not have a work
yes,
from home? All of a
yeah,
sudden, and that too in 40 days, things have changed.
yeah,
So a lot can be done by us, and creativity, I think, will increase now. And that is the only, I think, creativity is the power to sustain now. Whoever is going to be creative is what is going to
yeah,
create the next future, and leave some kind of, as you said, leave these memorable moments for our future generations to
yeah.
thrive, or at least survive.
Yeah.
Mm.
What I just wanted to say a couple of things. I think all challenges are opportunities, are actually hidden opportunities. We have to
Mm.
just drop our resistance and stop telling ourselves, oh, why is it happening? Why is it happening? Instead, we
Mm.
accept things as they are. We'll
Yeah.
actually come up with a truly creative solution, with a truly creative
Mm.
answer to whatever
Mm.
challenge that might be there at that point in time. Uh,
Right.
my point was only this: I mean, you'll have something to tell your grandchildren. We lived through one of the toughest times. We
Yes.
lived through the COVID-19, and this is what
Yes.
happened in this world. And they'll probably never believe you, but then it will be something for them to think about.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And I remember, with hearing plague in the beginning of the
Yeah,
century, and then
yeah,
people dying, and then there were
yeah,
no transport, the dead bodies being carried on the carts,
yeah,
and
yeah.
these were all stories. And then I was to wonder, how can this happen? And the rats would die, some
Yes,
connection to those plague and the rats. But now see, after 100 year of evolution and so much of lot of modernization and his industrial revolution, the information technology coming, everything happening, and yet we are back to that. So we need to become more grounded, be more close to nature, and that is when I think we will get back those values which are lost, and get connected to our core essence of being a minimalist, but having value to every grain that we eat, conserving nature, not unnecessarily um, kind of you misusing it. I would say more than using, it was like more of misusing many things, overusing, dumping. The amount of um,
yes,
Nowadays, even the toilet paper is costing, it's become much expensive than the petrol. And especially in places like US where they are used to. And people have started coming back to the Indian way, of using the water and doing namaste and things like that. So a lot of things are changing, and so it was really nice talking to you, Kirti. We had such beautiful conversation. Yes, and a long, long lost child. I would say I met a long lost child. Two long lost children met each other. I would say.
Yeah.
Though I didn't go to those Himachal Pradesh, that lake that you talked about, but you took me virtually to that lake. I just saw you dipping your face in the water.
Yeah, like a horse on a dog.
Yes. And the poetry was so beautiful. I'll share the poetry down below here for the people who are going to watch. So read it, take time, read it, go through it, connect with Kirti Satya, and she's a writer, she's a poet. So we'll come back again with more conversations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jahnavi, for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed my conversation with you. I love your post from Story to Satori. Every time I read something, something pops in my head. I said, okay, yeah, that's right, that. I especially remember the one you say, your life is just a story, and then you have the Satori moment, and then you are at a different level. It's brilliant. I love that post, and I always remember it because it is true for everybody.
Yes, and it's like for me, it came by intuition. I wanted to write a book, and then I wanted to write something in this mindfulness, and then I just got it intuitively. I just got this whole name, Story to Satori, and now I think I had a lot of Satori moments talking to you, that how Mother Nature can make you thoughtless and not have anxiety. See, thoughtlessness doesn't mean like we are like fools. Exactly. We can think, but the power is in our hands, what we think. Otherwise, sitting in a place like normally what we do in a city with all the gadgets, with the TV on, with lot of things on, with lot of thoughts, we would be really the other way around, lost not in the mother nature, but lost to our own selves. We don't know where we are, mindless. But in fact, when we go back to nature, when we connect to her, we become lost in another sense. We get connected with our hearts. We get connected with our inner beings. And that's what we had. You gave us the experience, Kirti. And you really made all my viewers on Story to Satori enjoy. I'm sure of that. And I hope to meet you again.
Thank you very much, Jahnavi. I wholeheartedly agree on the intuition part. I think intuition is where all the creativity lies, and we can only tap that creativity when we, remove the, all the crap which is there in our head, and we are, peaceful and in a state of being.
Yes, absolutely. So the creativity is all part of it comes when we are the kind of a beta level of thinking, when we have lot of thoughts in our mind, and something like our brains are ticking at 22 cycles per minute. And when we are calmer and our brains are ticking at around 7 beats per minute, that's in our alpha state, is when we can access a lot of these kinds of creative muses. We can become writers, we can become poets. We are all, in fact, we have that potential, all of us. But why some of us access it? Because we can access those parts of our brains. We can access those parts of our levels of consciousness, right? So those were, I think, very Satori moments, wisdom nuggets that we have ended this conversation with. Kirti, so we can have more conversations and this can go on. We can never stop.
No,
But
no. I'm sorry. I have literally pulled it with all these things.
no, it was awesome talking to you. But YouTube has got an algorithm where more viewers can watch if it is less than 30, and we are exactly on 30 minutes. So thank you so much. And I really, really appreciate you for being on my show. Thank you. And spending those it was a real mindful retreat, and spending mindful moments with me with a cup of tea, virtual and real tea. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Bye.